Bonsoir, mes amis. Welcome back to Monaco. Last time we ran into some trouble and we had to go procure some first aid. This time we'll be getting rid of the evidence. This time, considering we're going to a security corporation, probably be in our best interest to bring the hacker. First thing we run into is a new type of alarm system. These alarms will slowly zoom in on your position, and once the cone fully levels in on you, it will set off the alarm. If you're quick though, you can run past it usually without a problem. We also get a new item, the EMP. It acts like turning off the power box, but in a much shorter time frame. You can pop it, it'll start turning off electronics radiating outwards from your location, but they'll be back up within about 5 seconds. This area, on first blush, can seem very intimidating. There are a lot of different security appliances and there are a lot of guards. But if you start taking your time and looking around at what's actually there, aside from that, a lot of these guards are staring straight at walls, so they can't necessarily see you. And if you're careful, you can sprint past the alarms before any of the guards will notice you. A lot of what this level will come down to is getting used to the concept of keeping lines of sight. Obviously, if the guards can't see you, it doesn't really matter if you sprint. Of course, even when playing as the hacker, your viruses can still run out, which is what's about to happen up here. Or they'll get confused. When using the EMP, you want to use it before the alarm will go off. It does take a little bit of time for the signal to radiate outwards and turn off everything. One of the primary things you want to be doing as the hacker is running as many viruses as possible. The reason for this is, well, there's a couple reasons. One is that, obviously, turning off the laser tripwires is always going to be handy. But on top of that, viruses do a little bit more than that. Any laser tripwires you currently have control of will give you vision of the immediate area. You'll notice a green cone that slowly sweeps back and forth from the lasers. That's a vision that's being provided to me by the viruses. If you don't have a character such as the Lookout handy, this can still give you a leg up on the competition. Another reason to keep as many viruses running as possible is that viruses will also run through the network and shut off various other devices. This can include lights and telephones. It's handy if you turn off the lights because guards' range of vision is reduced in dark areas. that they can only see you better once you're directly in front of them and in front of their flashlight. But once you're standing from farther off, it can be quite a bit more difficult to get to you. As for telephones, telephones will drag nearby guards to that area. This can distract a guard from his patrol, or it can distract a civilian who's just standing around doing nothing. But anyway you look at it, it can cause a problem if you were expecting a moment of quiet and suddenly it's not so quiet. Something to keep in mind with viruses, if they do tend to hop around as much as these are. When electronics are disabled by a virus, there's a span of about 1 or 2 seconds before the laser or whatever you turned off will come back up. So, just because a virus runs out doesn't mean you immediately need to sprint away from whatever you were doing. If it's almost finished and you can spare the little bit of time, or you're willing to take the risk, it can be worth it. And sometimes that happens. This live testing area is another demonstration of why sneaking is important. I can walk in front of these guards who are standing in the window without much issue, whereas if I were running back and forth, they may catch sight of me and start getting curious. I'm always a little hesitant to use the EMP as the hacker, since anytime you set off an EMP it'll turn off all of your viruses, which you may have desperate need of in some cases. But sometimes there's no way around it, or it could be a situation where you just don't need the viruses at the time. This last area with the safe, the lobby, can be a little bit intimidating, but if you're patient and you keep your eyes open and take your time, it's not too difficult to get past. The only thing to particularly watch out for is that there's a solid laser between the lobby and the parking garage. If you set off that laser, it'll actually drop down security doors, which will appear on the map much like locked doors, only there will be 2 locks instead of the normal 1. These doors take twice as long to unlock, and they can be pretty bad if you're trying to get out of the area in a pinch. With that done, we're out. Please join me next time when we'll go take in some of the local wildlife